This is the best of VOCM Open Line with Brian Callahan.
Let's go to line number 1. Gerald, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. How are you this morning?
Good, sir. Thank you. How are you?
Not bad, I guess.
Good.
Well, the reason why I'm calling in this morning, I was talking to you, I think it was a few weeks ago, with regards to the recreation scallop regulations.
Yes, I remember.
So since I was talking to you, we've got a committee started up now from the South Coast Harbour Breton area to over on the Burin Peninsula, where we've got over 200 members now signed, taking in our committee. So we've been trying to lobby the government, lobby the fisheries and oceans and our fisheries minister to try and change a regulation that's there for no reason. They just can't come up with a reason to tell anybody. But the most frustrating thing about it all is that I can't talk to anybody. I can't get hold to anybody. After several weeks since I've been talking to you last, I've been left messages to Minister Thompson, to Driscoll's office, all our MHAs that I know of, and just there's nobody ever returning a call, not giving me a text or nothing. So that's got to be the most frustrating thing that anybody could go through.
Yeah, not getting a response at all is tough at federal, whatever level, especially when you send out so many feelers and try to get just, a response. So not even a response will get back to you federally otherwise? Nothing.
It's just like kicking a dead horse. It's just like, you send a message, leave everything, all your details, we'll get back to you. Not one have returned my phone call.
I mean, the minister, whether it's federally, provincially, may not get back to you, although some do, to their credit. They have staff who at least are there monitoring, and communication, as we say, is such an important thing. I was just saying a minute ago, I might not give you a fulsome answer to every email that I get here, but I will try to just flick you a note and say, I got it. I appreciate you reaching out, because people take time to do that. So it's just a courtesy, if nothing else, in return, right?
Yeah, I think that they're going to have a cabinet shuffle today.
Yeah.
So I think that when they change all these positions around, give them a phone, because I don't think they got one. It's just we got 200 members there. That's all. I'm in this group, and they're asking me every day, do we have anything back? Nope. I don't hear a sound from them. And that's, like I said, it's pretty frustrating that you don't give it at least one call to say, boy, listen, we're looking into this, or this is the way it's going to go. Nothing.
That's what you'd want in any, whether it's politics or business. Gerald, can you just remind me and the public, I have a general sense, the change you were looking for?
What we're trying to do, Brian, is they got a regulation that states in the regulations on your license that I'm not allowed to use any assistance to all my rake up the bottom. Okay, when I go scallop dragging, it's either by hand or by no other means. I'm not allowed to do anything. Right. They say you're allowed to take a partner with you, but you're not allowed to get your scallops. Unless, you got to have a scallop license. But who in this day can agree to go aboard a boat to help you all up a 100-pound rake full of rocks and debris? There's nobody that's going to do it. And it's making it hard for our seniors who always done it all their life. Mm-hmm. It's making it hard for anybody who got any physical disabled person like me there now. I just had my shoulder replaced there 6 months ago. I mean, I can't haul up my rake. Me and my wife used to go out with an hauler, and we could haul it up. But there's no way in God's green earth can anybody haul that rake up when it's full of debris. I don't care how small the rake is, you're not hauling up. And I challenge any one of the ministers, if you want to go out with me aboard the boat, I would take them aboard the boat with heart and ask, listen, haul up that rake. And if they can haul it up, I'll say, all right, buddy, forget the regulations. Let it stay in there.
Yeah, and it's a safety issue too, right?
It's a safety issue. I mean, when you're trying to rake all that rake up, you got your back.
Yep.
You're not going to break your back off.
Let's hope not.
And as you're getting older, your muscles not as strong as you were when you were 25.
No, absolutely.
So, I was talking to a guy over on the road the other day. He's 77 years old. He said, I used to love going and get a few scallops. I can't do it no more. I mean, that is a discrimination against your senior citizens.
Well, it would be nice to have that consideration, not just for seniors, but people with mobility issues or whatever. I mean, we've seen it in the food fishery as well. You know, there's accommodation for these sorts of things and like a leeway or a flexibility. Usually, excuse me, that's included somewhere along the way here. So it's pretty cut and dry, is it?
It is pretty cut and dry, buddy. And like I'm saying, I'm gonna challenge any politician out there to give me a call. I'll be only glad to. I'll stay home all day if I got to, just to talk to you and see if I can beat some sense in your head.
What's this? What's the group you said you got formed now? Is it? You say there's a committee formed or?
Yeah, it's the Recreation Scallop Fishers.
Okay, and is that new? Is it just sort of? Yeah,
we started this up probably about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and in that 2 to 3 weeks we came up with with the help now of Merv Wiseman and Barry Fordham. They're the ones who told me to start something up and get as many members as you can. I thank these guys for helping me out. Mm-hmm. And we're going to try to get on the right track, and maybe even the fall we may be trying to coincide with these guys and join the food fisher fighters, right?
Oh, right. I mean, the strength in numbers for sure.
Yes, and we may try to be able to do something like that. But as for now, I'd like to take the opportunity to speak to one of these guys, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, or Minister Thompson. I left a message personally to her the other day, and she sounds so nice on the phone. Oh, I'm going to get a call back from her in a minute. Oh, sure, but no way. It's just that I don't know if they got time for you. If it's the topic that we're talking about, because when I done my homework, that this regulation don't mean nothing. I asked the fishery officer today that he come outside of my boat. I said, "Sir, why am I not allowed to use my hour?" I don't know. So it's there. He says it's got to be enforced. But I said, you got to have a reason. You got to have a reason to charge somebody. You just can't come out tomorrow and say, "I'm going to give you a ticket for walking the road," unless you got a reason for it.
Yeah.
But they can't come up with a reason. All they're saying is that you only got a quota of 50 scallops per person.
Yep, that's great. Per day, I think, in coastal water,
per day,
right? Yep.
Yes, right. And that don't mean, say, Brian, that you're going to throw your rake overboard and you're going to get 50 scallops and go on home.
Yeah.
You might have to make 20, 25 tolls to get that 50 scallops. You may have to all that rake up 25 times to get 50 scallops. It is recreation, not commercial. I mean, they use bigger rakes and things like that, and they can use the assistance of an hauler, right? But even the smaller boats, the boats the same size I got, who's commercial, can go out outside of me, and they're allowed to use the hauler to raise up the rake, but I'm not.
Can you use dip nets still in the recreational? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, but looking down at the bottom, if I fed them, that, you're not going to see many scallops.
Well, that's when you just throws on the scuba gear, sure. Gerald, what's wrong with you? Because that's allowed too, right? That's part of the. I do know that's allowed in the regulations. So you just throw that on and gear up and hit the water.
I'll just remind you, the place that we go to go scalloping, there's no recreation diving.
Yeah, so there's the disconnect.
In that area, it's the closed area for diving.
There you go.
Right. I mean, I was only so far I'm going to go catch these scallops. Other than that, it wouldn't be feasible to go.
Gerald,
right?
yeah, no, absolutely. I was going to say, the fact that you formed there's going to be, I'm going to predict you'll have a little bit more success maybe just in forming something official as opposed to individual one-off emails and phone calls. The boys are absolutely right, Barry and Merv. I mean, a formal representation is going to hold more water, no pun intended, than say just individuals, whether it's yourself or individual representations, sporadic emails and all that kind of stuff. So this is the first step, and I look forward to seeing if you have any success with it.
Yes, sir, and just letting all my committee members know that within the next week or two that we're going to be having demonstrations on both sides of the bay. At the fisheries buildings, the committee members on this side of the bay on the Harbour Britain area, we're going to be having a demonstration, and I got some guys over on the Burin Peninsula that's going to take the rein by the horns over there, and they're going to have a demonstration over there too.
Okay.
And we're going to do it the same day.
Yep. All right, well, listen, you got a cause, and this is the way to go about it, in my estimation. Whether or not you have success remains to be seen, but, this doesn't seem like we're moving, heaven and earth here. There should be some kind of accommodation, and maybe there's some flexibility. All you need is someone to get back to you.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Basically, that's our politicians. They wouldn't be there where they're at right now if it wasn't for us.
True enough.
We're the ones who put them in, and they're only making promises to you that when they get in, we're going to do everything we can to help you out. But you know what? That's the biggest pack of lies I ever heard in my life.
Yeah, there has been a track record of that at every level.
Yep,
so,
sure.
Be nice to turn that around. Gerald, keep me in the loop.
I will, buddy, and thanks so much for having me on today.
No problem. And make sure, do your best for everybody that you know and all the rest of it. Keep PFDs and, safety first in the boat, despite the regulations.
Sure.
I've seen lots of little small boat people, hauling up this, that, and the other thing, not a life jacket to be seen. And we know recent tragedies tell us that's not the best way to go about this. So just a reminder,
and that's the other danger. That's the other danger to it.
Yep.
When you're on a rake up like that, you can capsize your boat so easy. You got your both on the same side of the boat, trying all to rake up. Exactamundo.
It's uneven balance, to say the least. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Good luck with it, man.
Hey, thank you so much.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Line number 4, and Tyler, you're on the air.
Morning, how are you?
Pretty good. Pretty dim and dark out there. It's really weird. It feels like 8 or 9 o'clock. I'm looking out through the windows here, and it's, But, I just say that because that does affect my mood a little bit. But anyway, I'm looking at the time on the clock. That's all that matters.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's pretty dark and gloomy up here in Labrador, too.
Oh, okay. So it's consistent, at least.
Yeah. I wanted to get my 2 cents in on this deal here with Churchill.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Well, a lot of big numbers being thrown around, 49 billion, 273 billion, all these other numbers, right? But at the end of the day, Tony was voted in because he said he would hold a referendum, period. And no matter what the numbers are, he made a promise. He should keep that promise and plead his case. If he thinks it's a good deal and the best deal for us, then plead your case and let us decide,
Yes, go right ahead. Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, make the case. I'm sure they will when they get in the House for the debate or elsewise. Yeah, absolutely. Justify it, right? Lay it out. Here's what we're thinking. And he has referred to the experts who have this independent review committee that was put in place to oversee, and it determined that the former MOU by the Liberals was not in the best interest of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. And since then, a new, I guess it's been topped up, if you will, because they said they didn't scrap the old one, and they've added to it to make it better. More power, more value, more transmission. So although that part of it, as I mentioned yesterday, doesn't seem to have undergone an independent review, but I leave that, I'm still working on that, try to make sure that's the case. It was in a news release, but I'm not sure yet.
No, and that's right. It's just like we've all been left in the dark. Once, there was a lot of talk and chatter and all this and that back and forth, and now all of a sudden, the backroom deal was signed, in theory signed, right? They still got to finalize everything, but I feel like we're getting hosed again, and it's just a common theme.
Yeah, I mean, it's a feeling. A feeling is just that, right? It's not necessarily based on, you can have a feeling about it. And I guess the more information you have, and we all have, will reduce that feeling to an actual informed decision, hey?
That's right, yeah. And right now there's a lot of emotions flying around. I'm pretty emotional about it. I know a lot of other people are, but he's just got to plead his case, No more talking points and media whatever politicalness. Just plead your case and tell us why specifically why. This is why, and this is why we can't have that. There's all kinds, people are arguing, well, we own 65% of it. Why aren't we getting this? Well, tell us why. There's got to be a reason, so tell us why. That's it. That's all everybody wants to know. Mm-hmm. Why is this the best deal? Why couldn't you get more? And maybe they're not allowed to tell us, but at the end of the day, it's just tell us why it's the best deal. That's it.
Yeah, and I think they have so far telling us, but I guess the devil, as we all know, and it's probably the most overused cliche here so far this week, is that it's the devil is in the details. And they're slowly but surely coming out as people make their way through this 70-odd page. It gets pretty complex at times, so we do have to rely somewhat on the experts. And there's been a lot of information out there from people who support it and people who do not support it. So yeah, I mean, look, it's up to us as individuals to be as formed as possible as we can, to review it, to understand it as best we can, but then to rely on our elected representatives, for one. And anyone else you might have in your world who has expertise in this area. But for the most part, we elected our MHAs, and this is going to be the safety valve, if you will, right, in the House of Assembly now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully, right,
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep, that's it. That's all I got on it.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 3. And caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Brian. How are you?
Hi, pretty good so far. How are you?
Good, thank you. I have a bit of a problem. I moved into this basement apartment in Mount Pearl last September 1st, 2025. And when I moved in, I noticed something unusual. 2 days later, I opened up my blinds and there was vinyl on the windows. So I questioned about it, and the landlord mentioned, we got that for our privacy. And I said, well, you know what? It's really dark here in the basement anyway, and with the vinyl, it was making it extra dark. So as time went on, I noticed there was no electrical panel in my unit in the basement apartment. So as time went on, when they were doing renovations to the house, so I would go out. And so when I come home, my fridge was must have been disconnected or somehow from their panel because my food was getting spoiled. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started doing my laundry, they would turn off the hot water. I had no hot water.
Okay.
And so as time went on, I talked to them about it. They didn't say anything about it. And so finally, I ended up going to the Landlord and Tenancy Board. And in saying that, I gave them 2 letters of notice to get things repaired. And they hadn't contacted me yet as of today. I don't have a computer, so I can't give it to them electronically, so I had to hand it to them in an envelope, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So today now is the 21st, and I still hadn't got no answer from these people. And there's been weird stuff going on in my unit, because I mentioned to the landlord that I'll be not signing no lease. That'll be a monthly contract, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to move out of the unit. So as time goes on, it's just stuff that's happening to my apartment. I got in the shower. There was black stuff going through the pipes. Apparently, there in January, like the holidays, they didn't get home and their pipes had frozen, okay?
Yeah.
And they asked me if my pipes, and I said, no, my pipes aren't frozen.
So this was over the winter, past winter, was it?
Yes,
yep.
Yes,
okay.
Just past January.
Yep.
And so they must have put some kind of chemical or something in the pipes. They didn't let me know about it. And it ended up, when I got in the shower, all this,
Ugh.
it looked like some kind of black oil or something.
God.
And then it happened to me the second time, a month later. And so it's just a continuous thing. I think myself, like I'm 66 years old. It's called elder abuse. They're only young people, 24, 26 years old. And there's stuff that's been going on in the unit that doesn't make sense. They got drill holes outside where the casing of the door is to, and they made it look like it was a break-in. Okay?
Okay.
And it's just a continuous thing, and I'm just, I'm very upset about it, obviously.
Clearly, yeah, I would be too.
And so I went to the City Hall in Mount Pearl and see what I can do about the electrical panel, and they said that I got to have electrical panel to have accessible to my unit.
So you have to have access. You have to, by rights, you should have access to it in some way. Well, of what's powering in your space.
Pardon me?
Of what's powered in your space, you should have access to that. Is that what they said?
Yes, either I have an electrical panel in my unit or access to their basement to have access to an electrical panel.
Do you have any normal human conversations or communications with the people who own the house or the people who are doing these renos and changes? Are you able to talk to them normally and say, what are you doing and why are you doing it?
They're very difficult to talk to, actually. They're controlling, and they're definite on controlling issues, and I can't deal with that, okay?
And you are a senior, are you?
Yes, I am.
Have you, just given the seniors advocate a call just to see if they can sort of be an intermediary or if they can somehow intervene or give you some advice on this? I mean, I know you're in touch with the Landlord Tenancies Act. That's the board and services. That's important. And there is a dispute resolution mechanism you can go through there. You fill out the application and that sort of thing if you're not getting anywhere.
Well, I have that in place already,
okay.
And I had given them 2 notices as well, one on August 18th and also one on yesterday was left in the mailbox because I had their key.
Right.
Their extra key, and I put the extra key in the envelope, and they must have got it yesterday in the mailbox.
I wonder, is there any way that they're not aware of what they're doing? Are they just turning off power sporadically to save money? I mean, that's the kind of communication you. And are they even aware? In some cases, the panel can be, especially in a house that's been renovated a few times or whatever, especially if they want to put in a basement apartment. Sometimes, they may not even realize they're turning off one breaker that affects more than they think. That's sometimes. I'm not saying here. It's just thinking of all the realm of possibilities of what could be going on here, right?
And when I moved into the unit, apparently when they bought the unit, the original owner was living in the basement apartment, and in the bedroom he had access to the basement. That was the deal that he had.
Okay.
At the people upstairs that he had rented out.
Right.
He was living in the basement apartment. And when they took over, they encased the entrance going out to the basement and put in stand-up washer and dryer. Okay?
Right. Yep.
And so I'm not even sure even if they had ballot from the city to do these repairs. I don't know. And another thing, too, my steps in the entrance were rotted. And I mentioned to them when I moved in that they had to be replaced because the steps were rotted. And I was afraid that I might have an accident.
Sure.
So I ended up having an accident going to the garbage container and damaged my left foot. There's a bone sticking out there now.
Yeah.
Because my foot flipped up and faced the sky when I turned it on the step.
Caller, I'm right on the news, and I really got to get there, but I would just ask, so when you say you're having trouble communicating, is it a language barrier, or you just can't cross paths with them, or can't get a hold of them? Or?
She doesn't want to speak to me face to face.
To her own tenant?
Because
I hate to have that.
She's a controlling person, okay?
Yeah.
Because when I had my reference given to her, I asked her to give her, I said, take a copy of it and pass it back because that's my papers.
Right.
And she said, no, that's mine. I said, no, it's not. It's my personal papers. I need that on my, with my personal things, you know?
Yeah.
So she said, no. She said, you're not getting it back.
So you said you are looking for another.
The list.
You are looking for another place, are you?
Well, the thing is, the list, it just keeps going and going and going. Okay.
Yep.
You know, and I come home and my sink was full of oil, like the same oil that was in the bathroom. The oil is actually embedded in the taps. It's stained.
So, only because I've got to get going. Seniors Advocate, if you haven't given them, have you tried them at all, or?
Yes, and they referred me to government organizations called... It's in the Biotic building.
Oh God, the address. I think I know what you're talking about. I just can't get the right title of it. But look, I've got to get off to the break. The newsroom is waving me off. I've got all this information. All I can do, from this position here right now is ask you to let me know if you get anywhere with this. Communication's everything in this world. And a landlord and a tenant can't communicate on a regular human basis. If you have an option, I'd get out of it, especially with all the issues there that they don't seem to be consulting you on that affect you. So that would be my, it's easy for me.
And it's affected me not only physically, but mentally too, because I had to go out and eat every day. Yeah,
I guarantee it.
I got poison on eggs and mayo.
Shouldn't have to. That's crazy. I mean, look, you're paying whatever it is you're paying for rent, and you need some communication and some resolution here. Let me know if you have any other, luck with this. There's an MHA, of course.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Try your MHA too. I'm sure. I think Paul Lane. Have you tried Paul?
No, I haven't.
I'd get Paul's great by. I mean, look, he'll jump on anything like this to clear it up. I'd contact Paul Lane, your MHA, and I'm pretty sure Paul's. Obviously it's the Mount Pearl area. I'm pretty sure it's Paul. But yeah, that would be my next stop if you haven't had any. Yeah. So good luck. Sorry to rush off, but I'm well over now.
No
Sorry
worries.
about that.
Thank you so much.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 4. And David, you're on the air. Sorry.
Good morning, Brian.
Morning. How are you?
Good. I want to talk about the new MOU.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
First, I'd like to say I think the negotiators did what they could, given their constraints, given the mandate. They were told to work within this current framework, and that's why we have this deal. Mm-hmm. It is not in our best interest, not even close. Divided into two parts. First, the Churchill Falls, the existing Churchill Falls, and secondly, Gull Island. The big thing, we completely underestimate the value of that power. Quebec Premier has said they're saving $200 billion a year. That's $4 billion a year they're saving with this deal. And that's pretty well what we're leaving on the table. Close in terms of what the Churchill Falls power is worth. We will continue to subsidize the ratepayers of Quebec for another 50 years. We're paying some of the highest rates in Canada. They are paying the absolute lowest. We continue to sell for 50 more years our cheap power to Quebec, and we continue to pay the high prices for the rest of it. Even in 50 years, they're still going to be getting 70% of the cheap power. And what will we be paying for all the rest of it? There is no need for this. We are meant to be the primary beneficiaries of Churchill Falls, and we're not. We're clearly not. The movement from 0.2 cents to 1.8 on up is ridiculous. We need to be much more aggressive in the pricing. As the Prime Minister has said, no deal is better than a bad deal, and this is a bad deal, particularly in terms of Churchill Falls. With respect to Gull Island, we don't need the power from Gull Island. There's more than enough at Churchill Falls to satisfy us and all the foreseen development for a long, long time. This is what Quebec needs. And we're going to develop this. We're going to sell it at cost, with Quebec getting most of it and us getting small pieces of it over time. And we will be ending up getting more of it later in the project when it's more expensive. Why are we doing it? The best thing, in my opinion, for Gull Island is do something like PEI and the federal government did with the Confederation Bridge. Give it to Quebec. Say, yes, you go ahead. You develop it. It's yours for 40 years or whatever the time frame is. Pay for it, make a fair return. And at the end of that period, it turns over to us. We get a royalty on every kilowatt produced, but they can build it, they can finance it, they can take the risk, they can make money on it. We'll make money off the top, but at the end of a defined period, it comes back to us. It's not a new concept, and I think it fits perfectly up there because we don't need that power if we're getting a fair shake out of Churchill Falls.
Yeah, and that goes to the heart of people's argument that, what's the rush? If it is indeed a rush. Again, it on the surface, it seems like it may be. Do you have background in the biz, David?
Not in the hydro business, no. One tip-off, Brian. Look, we're all getting scammed or attempted scams on the phone and the computer every day. And the first red flag we see is you got to act now. You got to act quick. This is going to disappear. We got to move now. And that's what we're getting on this hydro deal. We got to get it done now. We got to get it done. We got to sign 50 years. Like, why do we need to sign a 50-year deal? This power is only becoming more and more valuable each day and each year. So why 50 years and why the rush? This is crazy.
It was initially, one of the criticisms of the MOU by the Liberals was that it was 50 years and that it should be a shorter term. But again, there were changes. I would say this, David, look, again, the amount of people who have an opinion, and that's fine, especially people who are more informed. Some are more informed than others. Some have read the document. But questions like yours are important questions. There's no question about it, only the sense that, there's some meat on the bone with your questions. And those are the kind of questions that need to be posed when this gets into the House. I mean, we need to drill down with specifics for nothing else, peace of mind. It may well be, as I said before, a great deal. I don't know. I'm reading through the agreement, but as I said, there's only so much. I have limitations on my knowledge of hydroelectricity. I did do some work on Muskrat Falls for the government at the time. I was on a contract just as a fact checker, a reader, there was a lot of translation work that needed to be done, whether it was the Italians or the French that when they testified at the inquiry. And I was on that, and I read through a lot of this, not as a hire, as a partisan hire, but just doing work, as far as fact-checking and making sure that what was being said, transcription of it. And so I learned a lot that way. I used to joke that I could probably build a dam, but no, I can't, and I don't know enough about it. I am fully waiting now for the House debate. I'll be listening and watching with great interest. And these questions, like yours, are important questions, and I'm sure they'll all be put before the powers that be at the right time. And let's just hope we get questions, because other than that, it's all supposition and questioning and speculation, and a lot of the criticism is just that.
But, Brian, a couple of points. Greg Roberts, who's produced a lot of reports and analysis of this, he's come out and said this is 1969 all over again. I encourage people to look on Facebook for Greg Roberts' reports. But the other thing is, Tony Wakeham insisted that the 24 MOU need to have an independent review. It was critical, and we got it. So why isn't this getting an independent review?
Again, another question that only they can answer. I'm just going strictly by a news release that said there would be an oversight of the final agreement that was arrived to after the negotiating team of Williams, Kennedy, and Perry did their work from May until, 2-3 months until it was announced. So they had about 3 months to factor in the federal government's involvement here, which is really what appears to have happened, because it was only at the end of April that they said the Liberal MOU was not in the best interest. So that was when they had to go back and start fixing it or topping it up or making it better in their estimation. And by all accounts, this independent body that I saw, and it says it in the news release, I just don't know if it did get subject to that review. And again, another question for the House debate.
But the other part of that is, what was the mandate of that review committee? Right? It's just like the mandate of the negotiating committee. The mandate was, you have to negotiate within this framework. You have to improve it within this framework. The review committee may have a similar, very tight mandate, which will, reduce their effectiveness.
Yep.
My fear is this will be voted along party lines in the best case scenario, right? The PCs will vote in favor. The Liberals may vote against. So really, what's going to happen? What's going to change it? Where is the pressure going to come from? You're going to have to get a significant number of government members to vote against it, and that's not likely to happen. There has to be something else. There has to be a more formal, independent review so that we can all voice informed opinions.
David, I'm a little past break. There's a lot of opinions here, and I welcome them all. I hope it's not along party lines. I think we've talked about that, and the parties have said if it's a good deal, they'll support it. We'll see when the rubber hits the road and when all the questions are answered. Again, right? I'm not going to prejudge. The Premier has said it'll be fully open to debate, all aspects of it. The team will be there to answer the questions. I'm willing to wait till then.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call.
Okay, bye.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Going to Randy on line 2. Randy, you're on the air.
How's it going today?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm a victim of workers' comp.
Okay.
I listened to the show for years, and I listened to all the horror stories coming about how people are treated on workers' comp. Well, I'm a victim of that. I've been trying to get back to work for 5 years, and I opted to be retrained because I destroyed my shoulder. I had to go through 3 orthopedic surgeons to tell them that my shoulder cannot be repaired. It has to be replaced, but I can't have the surgery, they're saying, because it only lasts 10 years, and after that, my shoulder is no good. But my right shoulder is taking the brunt of it now, and I had to get cortisone shots in the other day because I'm in that much pain, right? But I opted to be retrained as occupational health and safety officer online. At home, I got a brand new laptop. I was getting progress reports of how my course was going, and I got a paper trail from the university telling them that they couldn't release the course to me because workers' comp never paid the PO, and my caseworker would never call them back. That went on for months. And at the end of May, I got very angry with it, and I told him, and I cut off communication with him, and I tried to go back to work as a mechanic because that's all I know, right? And, I'm living off, and that doesn't work either because I can't do it anymore. And, I had a slip and fall. I went to work one morning, and I opened the door, went in, and I slipped and landed on a garbage can full of sand, and I destroyed my shoulder. So,
yeah.
I've been dealing with that ever since. And, I'm trying to get ahead in life. And it's very difficult. Now I'm living off $121 every month or every 2 weeks. That's what they expect me to live off. I've lost everything I've owned because banks, everything is a big punishment to be on workers' comp. And I'm trying now to get back to even retraining. I listen to your radio, and I hear about this commercial you got on about workers' comp and stuff like that. But that's all false information. It gives you false hope and everything like that. I'm sitting around. I wanted to be retrained. I want to go back to work, but they're not helping me one bit.
Do you have anyone assisting you with your actual claims? And did you get your initial, say, 85% or whatever, I think it's 85, of pre-injury net earnings? Like, did it work out initially that way and they've reduced it, or what's the situation with that?
Yeah, I got now my my MHA.
Right.
Is stepped in now, and he's trying to do stuff for me now, right? But
okay.
There's stuff set up like a workers advocate. Even try to get hold of them, and it takes 3 business days for them to even call me back. I've listened to every excuse in the book of why I can't contact them, right? And I got all this paperwork, and my workers advocate told me there's not much she can do for me. Yep. It's a system I never seen nothing like it in my life. When it comes to injured workers in this province, Aboriginal people, like I listened to Lloyd Parrott on her talk about how he got a disability and that and stuff like that, and how the province is not doing very good for people like us, right? Like, I mean, I didn't opt to be injured worker. I wanted to retire. It's a punishment. People don't know it, but it's a punishment to be on workers' comp. You know, I have no rights. I can't get a lawyer to fight it. There's that much legislation put up against it. It's ridiculous.
It's interesting you mentioned Minister Parrott, who was the energy minister, but today has been shuffled, and he is now the Minister for Workplace NL. He has added. He has added. I'm just looking now at the energy minister. He has added to his portfolio. Red tape reduction, government services, labor, and workplace NL, of which you speak.
Yeah, because, I mean, here he is. He's a man with a disability. He should understand the way it is. But, I mean, if he's off in my shoes where I'm expected to live off $121, I worked in the workforce for 35 years. I paid taxes on all this. But, I mean, I didn't expect something to slap in the face like this. I'm going around. I'm that disgusted with it. I'm going around now with the road on my vehicle. I did everything they wanted to do. Everything they wanted me to do, I did it. You know, I had to go to 3 orthopedic specialists to tell them that my shoulder can't be fixed. Like, that's ridiculous. If any stretch of imagination. I didn't know what it was like. I listened to your show for years and listened to it. The horror stories of how this province treats us. You know? I'm an Aboriginal person, and I always put down a disability, you know, because I was told to self-identify. That's the biggest mistake you can ever make, is put down that you're Aboriginal and that you got a disability. Once that happens, let me tell you, I even applied for government jobs because I got my Class 2 and Class 4. I used to work for the busing contract for Muskrat Falls. I signed up on all the buses to keep them going, and I drove bus part-time. I applied for a job with the government for the school board here, and I was turned down. You know? You tell me what's going on here.
Why did they turn you down?
I don't know. They screened me out. That's all I got from them.
Okay, so communication is big there. I mean, when we say turn down, it's good to know. I mean, look, you know, we'd like to think in this day and age, there's the discrimination on the basis of a disability or Indigenous heritage is not, is not going to be held against you. We know in the larger world, in reality, across the board, across countries and provinces, there is some form of discrimination. But I mean, we're evolving, and I'd like to think that in our jurisdiction, it's not happening.
Yeah, well, with me now, I self-identified on my resume. I had everything removed, and I'm an Aboriginal person and a person with a disability. It's disgusting. You walk in my shoes.
No, absolutely. I was just going to say, look, I'm not going to pretend I understand what that's like. I can only imagine. And when there are delays and there are, decisions that are not in your favor with personnel, you will go there, and you have more reason probably to go there in your mind than other people do. Absolutely. You you have an MHA working on this for you?
Yes, I do. He's excellent.
Okay, well, that's one step. At least that's a start.
He's the member for Labrador, and I'll tell you, he's awesome.
So you're a federal member, is it the MP, or is it No,
the provincial MP.
Okay.
He's excellent. He's awesome. He's doing what he can for me.
And who are you talking about? Keith
Russell.
Keith Russell, yeah, okay. Yep, good. I mean, hey, let's get credit where credit is due. There's no, sometimes, there's all kinds of legal ramifications with names and all that, but not in this case. If an MHA is helping you, or someone needs help with an MHA, that's what they're there for. They're public, publicly elected people, and if, especially in this day and age when it's so easy to criticize, when you're getting due and they're doing work for you, we should hear about that too, right?
Well, he's awesome. Him and his
good to hear.
His secretary, Jody.
Yep.
I'm telling you, he's awesome.
Well,
I've never ever had to deal with this before, but I'm telling you, they stepped up to the plate for me.
Well, Randy, I'm glad to hear that. Only because I'm on the break here, I got to move on. But look, I'm glad to hear you got someone in your corner and working on it for you. At the very least, that's a lot more than some people do have.
Yeah, one more thing is I'm that frustrated with it. I even got it wrote on my vehicle that workers' comp is useless. The other night, the RCMP showed up at my house to check on see if wellness and thinking I was suicidal and stuff the other night. No, I'm not suicidal. If anybody wants to know why I got it written on my vehicle, stop by. I got all the paperwork in my vehicle, and I can show you how I've been screwed by this province.
Did they tell you they showed up for a wellness check because of a bumper sticker?
Yes, because the next day they caught me off guard. So yesterday I phoned them and asked them about it, right? And they said it was a concerned citizen in town that called them and told them to go check on me.
Oh, that might be different.
Yeah. Yeah, but I told the RCMP maybe they should go check the wellness check on them.
Yeah.
They should have come and talked to me. I got no problem talking to anybody about my situation. If they seen what I went through, they'd understand. Not just judge me because of what I got wrote on my vehicle. And I'm at a point where I got nothing to lose.
Is it?
I got nothing to lose because they took it all.
Do you say it's written on your vehicle, or is it a bumper sticker? Just to be clear.
No, I wrote it on with a paint marker because I'm that frustrated. It's not only workers' comp either.
Where is it written? Is it on the doors, front, back?
On my back windows, on my side windows. I got nothing to lose, so come try, take whatever you want now because there's nothing left.
Yeah, it's not something everybody does, so that could be just why some people thought they might be concerned out of the concern for your welfare. I don't begrudge that. You never know, but I mean, you're saying here, and you sound perfectly coherent, but I mean, I don't know. We're talking on the phone, right? So, but look, I do wish you well. I'm glad to hear that your MHA is doing great work, but I got to get off to the break, Randy. I'm really sorry.
Okay. Take care.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line with Brian Callahan.
Go to line number 6, and Heather Ballard with Rescue NL. You're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Heather. Pretty good. I was good until I saw this story this week and the troubling nature. I'll let you take the reins on it, involving these dogs on Belle Island.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the dogs that are on Belle Island that are posted there in Snow Dogs, their owner passed away a few weeks ago over there. But these dogs have been a problem for a long time. The SPCA removed, I don't know, maybe 12 or 14 dogs years ago. I was over there a few years ago with the RCMP. I think maybe we counted 14 dogs then. You know, the standards were supposed to be improved. There's less dogs there now than there were. There was more huskies there at the time when I was there. But, of course, our laws never seemed to actually get enforced, and the dogs were left there. Like I said, there is less now. But this person also had German Shepherds. He had stopped breeding these huskies and was now breeding German Shepherds, and the family also was breeding Shih Tzus. I think they still are. So, you know, as unfortunate as it is that these dogs are left behind, there's a bigger picture here that we need to look at, and that's backyard breeding. Yeah. Because Newfoundland it's ridiculous for it, and there's nothing being done about it because there's no laws against it. And the problem with that is that who's left responsible when things like this happen, or when nobody wants the dogs anymore? Where are these dogs going, and who's paying for them?
Exactly.
And, you know, it comes down to people are getting these dogs from these breeders that are not doing any testing and are not breeding. Well, they're breeding for money, right? So the dogs aren't good quality, and, you know, it could be that they end up being sick. So then the family can't afford them. They have to give them up. It could be that the behavior is not what they expected. You might get, I don't know, a lab, and, you know, usually labs are good behavior, but because the breeding was poor, who knows, maybe it was a brother and sister, right? It could be interbreeding. And then you get the behavior, so then they don't want the dog anymore. So the dogs are ending up in shelters, at rescues. And, you know, like my rescue, for example, we don't get funded at all, so we depend on donations, or we have to do fundraisers. And, you know, it's a sad state right now in this province for the rescues. I know myself and another rescue for sure, and we happen to take, you know, behavior cases. I think we might be the only ones. Our intake is closed because we're at capacity. We can't take any more. And in 2 days, I was asked to take 8 animals. And it's just nonstop.
You know, and those are the ones we're aware of.
Yeah, well, exactly. Those are the ones that we're aware of, like how many more are out there, right? So it's a sad state, and we're begging the government to put something in place to change the laws, put some regulations to stop this from happening. And people in Newfoundland, I don't think they realize that as much of this is going on that's going on. And I don't know if people realize really what backyard breeding is, but if your animal is basically not registered, if it doesn't have papers, it's backyard breeding. And, I don't like to say it, but it is. If you buy from a backyard breeder, you get what you get, and you don't get upset because that's what you're buying. And I know sometimes if you go and you see these poor animals and they look like, oh, gee, I got to take them, I can't leave them. But if you do that, you support the cycle. And those people are going to continue to breed because they're making money, and that's what they want. Yeah,
it's an under the table kind of operation, and the problem is, unless it's commercial grade or larger amounts, larger numbers of animals, that's only when the real breeding laws kick in for higher volume operations. And when you get the smaller ones, there's definitely a gap there. I've seen it in court myself when some of these animal abuse cases come before the courts. It always applies to what's the scale here. And, I'm looking at the pictures of these animals, just knowing that they're in these kennels right now, really not having any, not having any affection or actual shows of affection. I mean, animals live for that. We know it. And they're just getting hardened up by being behind cages, in cages. Kennels, I'll say kennels. But if you see the pictures, there's just 5 of them in this space that...
Yes, and I mean, they've been there a long time, and it's a sin. And like I said, we already have so many animals already that, we don't have any space to take them right now. And you have to get a particular foster. You have to remember these dogs have never lived in the house. They don't know, they're not house trained. And I mean, you can work on that for sure, but you have to. You have to put a lot of work into if you take one of these dogs in your house, and you have to be careful for your other animals. And so, you need a specific kind of foster, and not everyone's willing to do that, which I understand because it takes a lot of work, right? But hopefully, some people will come forward and help and be able to take these dogs. Maybe they don't have other animals and stuff, and they have some animal experience because someone. May not be able to help, right? But I think, like I said, the bigger picture is that something needs to be done. If you're going to buy an animal...
what can be done in the short term for these animals?
For these animals, I think right now, so Heather Gordon, she hasn't posted on her page. So right now, she's raised money to get them food because right now they didn't have any food. They were running out of food, so she's raised money to get them food. So she was bringing food to them today. And then we're trying to find a place for them. So she reached out to the SPCA because they didn't seem to have as many dogs. But I think she was told they were getting their floors done or something. So hopefully they're going to be able to take them because, like I said, we don't have a shelter. All our dogs are in foster, and right now we're at 20 plus dogs, and we're down actually from 30. So. Like I said, if any of our fosters come forward and can help, we'll do it. We're just going to band together and whoever can help them will. And hopefully, if people hear this, maybe there's some people out there that, will say, yeah, I can take that on. I'll help these dogs or whatever. I'll help one because, there's only 5, but like I said, it's a big ask because, these animals have been outside so long, and they certainly do deserve to be loved. It's just, it will take special people that are able to, well, the husky breed is quite energetic anyways, but also, like I said, the fact that they lived outside, they're going to need to adjust to living inside.
Yeah, and the situation that they're in. So Heather, just quickly, your contact info. Do you want to just share that? I know that, as you said, it's on Facebook and socials and that sort of thing. But just as an initial, if you don't mind, people just calling you if they have an interest and want to go down that road, what's the best way to reach you?
Well, like I said, they can reach me an email at adoption@rescuenl.com, or we do have a number. It's 709-853-3647, and they can the phone is not monitored all the time, obviously, because we all work, but they can leave a message there. Or Facebook, obviously. Facebook is probably the most monitored way, and it's Rescue NL.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And we've got all your contact info here. If people didn't get that, they can call Open Line, and we can pass it on. Okay,
all right.
All
so
good.
Hopefully, like I said, we can help them. And in the meantime, like I said, everyone reach out to the government because we need to see, breeding regulations put in place. And like I said, for everyone that's going to get an animal, please go to a registered breeder. Make sure you see the health checks. Make sure you know what you're getting because, animals don't ask to be born. Of course, we're going to take care of them if they are, but, like these dogs, right? We want to make sure that this don't continue to happen in our province. Absolutely.
They don't, like you said, they weren't born into it, so they didn't have a choice. Thanks, Heather. I hope we get some success here and more, awareness of this is going on, the backyard breeding stuff. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 4, and Gerald, you're on the air.
Morning, Brian.
Morning.
I'm in my 90s, so I want you to help me along with this, if you would.
If I can, I'll do what I can.
You remember the call from Gerald on his had that scallop trouble with using his dragger? Can you just recap that, please?
Well, he was basically saying that they're limiting people to, the rules, recreational rules, and that sort of thing about how you can prosecute the fishery. So let's see, it's basically to have to do with the devices. So the gear restrictions would be, mechanical or hydraulic dredge devices. That's banned in recreational harvesting. So you can only really use, as I sort of flippantly joked, scuba or hand rakes. The dip nets, which I mentioned, or like a single small drag, that you can use, for a small recreational as opposed to commercial operation.
Oh, yeah. Well, there must have been a good reason for those regulations,
Usually, yes, absolutely, I agree.
Well, I was suggesting that there's a way to let me see. Accountability is required here, and his squawk was that he couldn't get anyone to account. No answers or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah.
Yes, he couldn't get a response. I believe he said, from DFO or the minister. Yeah.
So I'm suggesting the way that the accountability can be made. And that is to deliberately challenge that regulation. I suggest his group, and if he's listening, set up an incident whereby they'll announce in effect that they're going to go out and break that regulation and demand that they be charged for it. And then what flows from that they take this to court. No need for a lawyer or whatever, and force DFO, or not DFO, somebody at DFO to come on and give the reason for that regulation. And if there's any financial losses involved or whatever, I suggest his group get some crowdfunding or whatever. Just think it out a bit. But the point is to force the accountability. That's forthcoming. That goes with democracy. That has to be accounted for. It has to be not accounted for. The responsibility, accountability must prevail here. If you have a comment, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, look, my comment would be, I'll never, promote or advise or encourage, intentionally, either saying you're going to or breaking the rules that are there. I mean, I just can't. As you said, there's...
that's fine. I go right along with that,
as a way to force it into the courts, Sorry.
Well, if that prevails, any rule or inane regulation, not laws or whatever, come out that they not be challenged. And I say that they must be challenged. It's the only way to force the hand of the democracy,
Yeah. I understand. I mean, there's a way to force the hand to really get people's attention. I understand. And some people will go to Confederation Building, or others, as you say, might take matters into their own hands, which, as I said, I don't encourage.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're not taking matters into your. This is a deliberate strategy to force. You can't. The answers are not forthcoming, and that's not only with the fishery. That's all over this place. We've had no accountability here for the troubles we're in for the last at least 10 years. I mean, look at the mess we're in financially. Who's accountable for? We owe something like $50 billion or whatever, in spite of all the money that's flowed in here, and there's no one accountable. Why isn't there someone accountable for our highways are in disrepair with all that money? Who's accountable?
Well, successive governments. And, not one can be blamed for all the ills that face us right now, whether it's the debt or whether it's the bad roads or whether it's the lack of control we have over the fishery. I'd speak more about the quotas as opposed to the processing, which is under the provincial government's purview. Successive governments, you're absolutely right. There's an issue sometimes with getting raison d'etre. Shall I say?
I say, you said this. I say all those in government, whoever was in there is accountable for this. They can all wear this mess, the mess that we're in, and the people of Newfoundland, with all this money, the people are the last to be in line. We like I said, with the roads and our the moose fencing, you could go on and on. Mm-hmm. But we have, that brings me just to the point about the, the rush to the, I've just made a note, the rush to the, by the way, your last caller on that MAU is superb. Yeah. And he said, why the rush? Well, I'll suggest an answer to the rush. The rush is that we're in a financial precipice, and the government are desperate. They would sell their mother or whatever, never mind Churchill Falls or whatever, to get money to come in to support the bloated government that we have. We have a bloated government that's sapping up all our energy and all the... it's a big 10,000-pound gorilla soaking the life out of this province.
Gerald, I've got to try to squeeze in one more caller that we promised. So I appreciate this, your opinion on all of this. It's a... as I said, successive governments and bloat. I try to stay away from, sell your mother and this kind of pejorative language. I get it. The frustration for many is real, but it can't be just hooked on this government. It's the way we've managed affairs since we joined Federation, arguably. Yeah. A lot of it out of our hands. Thanks, Gerald. Yeah. I appreciate the call.
By the way, just to finish off, sure. That's what happened in 1933, that we finally collapsed.
Yeah. The collapse, you're right. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Well, let's go to line number 1. Ramona, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to talk about the referendum.
Sure.
I don't think that the Premier should have promised a referendum. After all, most of us don't have a clue about this situation. So how could we vote on it? I mean, it's just an opening for making mistakes like that for dictators to try and take over. They promise things that they know they can't do.
I think dictator might be a little harsh, Ramona. I would, just looking at other countries around the world and the definition of a dictator. I don't think we're there. I'll just say that. Not. Just want to try to handle the pejorative language. It gets away from us sometimes, the heat and the emotion. But I understand, your opinion. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm just a bit nervous about it since all this situation in the world.
Yeah.
Very. Anyway, sorry about that.
No apologies necessary. I mean, look, as I said, right? I mean, it's open line, words come out, and I'm just here to moderate. So, when I see stuff like that or hear stuff, I just want to try to contextualize it, that's all.
Yeah, you're doing a wonderful job, I must say.
Thank you.
Yeah, it should be, we all go on blind trust. This is part of life, right? Mm-hmm. We got to depend on those people who know what they're doing, or hopefully they'll know what they're doing. But I don't think he should have promised a referendum. Well,
that's the beauty of a democracy. He had that ability to do so, and he made that decision, and that's the big difference and the beauty of a democracy versus a dictatorship, right? I mean, it's not forced on us. It was floated as an idea. They've changed their mind, and I'll leave it to the electorate to determine whether or not it was, the right decision, whether or not people can understand whatever question would have been put before us, whether we didn't have time to do it, whether it was the right decision in the first place, whether people will be upset that we didn't keep the promise, whatever it is. There's a lot to it, but again, I'd suggest, once we get in, if we can get all the answers we want in the House debate, that might be enough to satisfy most.
Exactly. Just wait and see what happens, and give it time.
Yeah, no, time is, well, yeah, we say give it time. Of course, the government has made it pretty clear that time is of the essence. So let's just hope it gets a full vetting, right?
Yeah, I know. It's definitely, yes. But, it's not even signed yet, so.
Yeah, it's non-binding to this point, so no one's held to anything. But that's pretty routine process at this point because, we talk about I's being dotted and T's being crossed. They're doing a lot more than that at this point, and they're listening. They're listening now, I think, to the public and to other experts. And who knows what tweaks will be made before this target date of the end of the year to sign the definitive agreements.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And the people, when they're running, they promise things that they're going to do, but they don't know what the situation is when they're not in the government, right? And they promise things that they don't know, and then they get in and they say, oh, it's worse than they thought it was. So.
And that's happened.
They need to be more careful of what they're promising.
Yeah, and that happens with every government, right? I mean,
I know,
not that it's right
it's not good for the, people, take advantage of all that stuff.
And a lot has changed since the government was elected, right? Especially on the international front, on the tariff front. I mean, we knew we were under pressure for it at the time, but we didn't really conceive or have a good idea, nothing official, to say how much the federal government would come on board here. And by all indications, by all accounts, their participation has gotten this across the finish line, or at least close to the finish line.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we've got to. I mean, it just takes time. The only thing that I am concerned about when they make statements when they're running, and it's good people that's there too. Because of making statements like that, it ends up bad for us all.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Whether or not anyone could have conceived that the statements made then would cause the hullabaloo that they might cause now, or not, or that the good things and the bad things that have turned out differently now. Time, tells all, doesn't it, over time? And so within the next month, we'll have a good look at all the detail. And I think it might be good for a lot of people, just to hold the fire until then, because every day we're learning a new aspect of this deal that gives it can change the context for people.
Exactly.
And it's complicated stuff, right? Everything from, the percentages of power from Gull Island or the new Churchill, the expanded Churchill, Upper Churchill, or whether it's the pricing mechanisms for gaining access to the Quebec corridor. It's a tangly process. No one should pretend we're all geotechnical engineers and accountants and economists. So there's lots to be figured out here, and at some point we're going to have to lean on our leadership to do the best job for us in the long term.
Exactly. It's way above our most of us normal, ordinary people is way above our knowledge.
Our pay grade, as they say. Yeah, absolutely.
Pay grade, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
No, Ramona, look, I appreciate it. Anything else? Did you want to,
No, I think that's it. You're doing a wonderful job, I must say.
Well, thanks a lot. It's still early days. Still gaining my footing, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, yes. You're going to be great.
God love you. Thank you. I'll take it.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Ramona.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay,
have a great
bye.
day.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 2. And Brian, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for Thursday.
Yes, it is. Myself in the United States got something in common. Yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I got my credit card bill. And I owe $214, so I paid it off. The United States also got their credit card bill. $40 billion. Can you imagine that?
40 billion? You talking about the U.S. debt?
Yes.
40 trillion, you mean?
40 trillion, I'm sorry. Now,
sorry, no, not the, but yeah, 40 trillion.
40 trillion. Now, I'm going to tell you, Brian, I don't even know how many zeros that is. But no, it's a lot. That has to be paid off. It really does. And, we can sit back here in Newfoundland and kick kick and scream about this hydro development project. But the day is coming when the United States will go belly up. My brother, who died 10 years ago, had a doctorate in economics from the University of Western Ontario, predicted that the United States will go belly up. And that, you can say, well, that's up to the states. No. If the United States goes belly up, we'll go belly up. You know that. If that country cannot pay its bills, other countries will not get paid. And, it's not only Donald Trump. It's also Democrats who also drove up the national debt. And I've had 2 major strokes, Brian. In a couple of years, in about 5 or 10 years, I'll be dead. I won't be around when the United States goes belly up. I don't want to be, because I think that will be a major world catastrophe. I don't know if they'll ever get it back. But if I were the Americans, I'd try somehow to bring down that debt, because it's going to have worldwide disaster effects.
Yeah, there's no question that the U.S. debt can affect every nation around the world. No question. And not only that, 40 trillion, their projections are that it'll go to 50 trillion in not too short a period of time. And so much of it goes back to the recession, 2009. Then on top of that, they include the pandemic in that. And now the Iranian war and the funding that they're running out of munitions, and now they're trying to fast track, particularly on interceptor missiles, which also Ukraine needs right now and are crying out for. It's the only way they can stave off the Russians. Another bunch of hits this week, innocent civilians. Oh, God. So, look, there's no denying.
And you got Donald Trump's beautiful bill, who's adding billions to the deficit by giving tax breaks to big companies.
Yeah.
So that's what I had to say today.
Yeah, and I will say there's kind of similarities. We talk about how the money we spend on healthcare here in the province, the interest payments on the U.S. debt is already, just the interest payments, they're already larger than what they spend on national defense or Medicare. So that'll put it into perspective, too. Brian, thanks for the call.
Well, thank you for listening to me, Brian.
More than welcome. I hope you're well. Take care.
Thank you.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to, where do you want me to go, Dave? Let's go to line number 1. And Paul, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi, Paul.
A first-time caller.
Yes, sir. Great news.
But I want to talk about workers' compensation.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a joke of a system. I was a mechanic for 35 years, and you work in all kinds of conditions and stuff. Mm-hmm. And at the end of my career, I couldn't lift my arms over my head very well, and my legs were giving out. So I collapsed at work one day and decided, I can't do this anymore. So I went on workers. So they accepted my claim for about 9 months. And then at the end of it, after seeing all these doctors and everything else, they determined my injuries weren't related to working. They couldn't tell me why it wasn't related, but anyhow, they turned me down. What I found, I've been working trade so long, everybody I work with pretty well had the same conditions I have. And they all got turned down for no reason. So, my belief, why are you paying the workers' compensation? And all they want to do is deny you your claim.
I don't think that's just, the mission statement for the workers' comp or for Workplace NL. But when you say everybody had the same condition and they all got turned down, what was the condition? And how do you know everybody? When you say everybody, how many people are we talking?
Well, in my life of working, it's been 25 at least.
Okay, and
we're all.
Sorry, go ahead.
We're all about the same age and been doing the same thing years and years and years. It's a repetitive strain.
Right, so they're not necessarily classifying that as your traditional type of workplace injury. Is that it? It's
right.
More of a workplace condition. that you just work in, and like any place. I don't know the specifics of this. I don't want to try to guess, but
no.
Is that basically what you're saying? Like it was a.
Yeah, they're just saying because you've done this job for so many years, it's just related to working.
Yeah.
And so it has no justification.
Well, every case, of course, is different. I mean, if you work in a place that has, say, had asbestos disturbed, then you're going to probably have a different scenario than somebody who's just been in a job where they got to bend and lift all day. And that can be repetitive strain injury. And then it comes down to whether or not you were properly assessed to be able to do that job, really, in the beginning. I mean, people have to be physically fit for some jobs, some for some and some for not, or for others not. But, it's so hard to talk about these. I will tell you, Paul, over the years, these are some of the toughest stories for journalists to get into, this and healthcare and family cases, court cases and that sort of thing, because, they're so intricate. You're talking medical assessments, types of work, all the various intricacies of a job that you might have that another person doesn't have. And your case is the most unique in the world because it's unlike anyone else's. So in many cases, when we lump people in with other cases, they got this and I didn't, or we all didn't get this. It's a tough call for a journalist to make because the Privacy Act doesn't allow us access to the other side. Workers' comp or workplace NL will not, open up your case to the media so that we can scour both sides of it. So it's always been a very unbalanced story to be able to try to report. And while we all feel for anybody going through the workers' compensation system, because it's a tangly thing, right? Medicals, reports, it takes time. There's percentages of your income. It's just, it's a really tough one for the media. And I know it's frustrating for people who are tied up in it because they're worried and they're concerned. And why aren't they talking more about workers' compensation? That's one of the reasons right there.
Yeah, I found like in my particular case, like, workers put something in there that I never even complained about. And that's why they're denying me. They accepted that my shoulders are bad due to work. They accepted my knees from working. But they got a little thing in there that I never ever even mentioned. And I'm still fighting this, right?
When you say a little thing, like a medical thing that you didn't bring up, but maybe it came up in an examination?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they ever come up with it. I never once complained about my elbows being sore, and that's why they're denying my claim now.
Was that little thing, and we don't have to get into that, but because I don't want to get too personally into your health, situation, but was that like your doctor that made this, or was that their,
No.
their health assessment, or?
I don't understand, and I can't get an answer where it came from. Like, my workers advisor don't understand it either. He reviewed the files again, and he don't know how that got in there because it was never identified by me or a doctor.
Okay, well, I mean, if he doesn't know, he should be the one to be able to find out. And if he can't find out, then we have a problem. This seems like, of all the tangliness that I've seen with these stories, that should be a pretty simple one. If they're also at a loss as to why it's there and how it got there, then that question needs to be answered. There's no question. Again, I guess. Yeah. Sorry to say question so many times.
And he's trying, but he's against the wall too. They're not giving him a straight answer, which I don't understand and he don't understand, because I went through the 30-day assessment and there was flaws discovered, and and they didn't give him a reason, and now I'm back to the same boat. And I got a friend going through the same thing as I am, and he's going through the same walls. It's just, even though the doctor says this is what caused it, but he's still getting nowhere. Okay. It seems like they're just putting in something else over and over and over.
Paul, look, I'm well past the break. I'm really sorry. I wish I had more time to dig into these, but look, every call that we get is an accumulation, and it can help inform others. So thanks for the call. I hope you get somewhere with this, and I hope your advisor can find out what that is.
Me too. I'm very not good at explaining this, but,
that's okay.
Done the best I could.
Appreciate it.
Anyway, on workers, keep fighting.
Yes, sir. Thanks again for the call.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, take care. All right, Dave, let's go off the break. We'll be right back.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 5. Lindsay, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the fiasco they had with the Church of Falls thing a couple of days ago.
Fiasco? Do you mean the new agreement or the tentative agreement?
Yeah, I call it a fiasco.
Okay, go right ahead.
I didn't see anything in it for Newfoundland and Labrador, nothing at all. You know, there wasn't anything. Like, to me, it was a lot of double talk, backwash off the hog's back. That's the only thing I've seen in it. Like, Quebec might have got something out of it, and the federal government might have got something out of it, out of that $10 billion they're going to load Newfoundland and Labrador and Quebec. I guess we'll have to pay it back. I don't know. He didn't say anything about paying it back. But the way that's going to work is that Quebec is going to get $6.5 billion, and Newfoundland and Labrador is going to get $3.5 billion. Add them together, that'll be your $10 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, you know, like Quebec is getting the biggest share of the pie right there. You know, like we're not getting anything at all. By the time that filters down through, it's got our engineers to drop the plans for the Gull Island type of thing, you know, and then you got your managers and your crooked foremen and people that's going to pocket a little bit on the side themselves. By the time it's said and done, you know, I see it as been almost like Muskrat Falls all over again.
Do you think, just, you know, being the devil's advocate here, it's a little early to rush to that kind of judgment?
Well, I don't know. I don't see too much into it for Newfoundland and Labrador. You know, I don't see anything at all. And, like, we should be able to benefit from that for our health care, our education system, which that's in shambles. And then there's our infrastructure, which is not doing any good, you know. So far as I'm concerned, you know, we're left out in the cold game.
Yeah, I mean, there is you know, $49 billion, nothing really to sneeze at. And the number they're saying, that's up from the $36 billion that we would have, you know, that's the net present value. If you want to get into the nominal value, which really this current government didn't put a lot of stake in the value, no pun intended, of the nominal, like the $273 billion over, you know, for what they call the nominal overall umbrella value of the entire project for Newfoundland and Labrador. They said, you know, in reference to the Liberal MOU, that they weren't paying so much heed to that. It was the net present, which they say is up from 36 to 49. So, I mean, that's not nothing, hey?
Well, you know, like 36 to 49, that's only about 10 or 11 billion. But, you know, like on a project like that doesn't mean that much, because, you see, when they built Churchill Falls back in 1969, okay, the wages and the cost of building it then, I don't know if it was $1 billion to do that then, and compared to what it is today to do it, you know, it's going to cost probably almost twice as much as that when it's all said and done.
Yeah, look, we know estimates, and you reference Muskrat Falls. Any major project, any mega project, you can add on a certain percentage to over budget. There's no question. Now, Muskrat Falls went beyond any of our wildest dreams of what it eventually ended up with. But when you're talking about, you know, people got to remember this is Labrador. The climate, the harsh winter climate, was always an issue with Muskrat Falls. Getting the right contractors, right companies with the right experience. Astaldi was a big part of that. They had some experience, the Italian company, but not Labrador weather. So there were always questions around that, whether they were prepared for to work in the kind of sub-zero temperatures. Now, who knows? Climate change, maybe it'll be a nicer, warmer place. Who knows? But there's a lot of elements to it. I personally think, you know, I mean, we're 3-4 days into it. As I've said here on the show, there are things that we do know, and there are things that we, for sure, and there's things that we don't know for sure, and all of that still has more detail in it. So, you know, I think, you know, as I said earlier, the safety valve is the House debate right now, where, you know, as opposed to us, say, having a vote on a referendum, and we can talk about that, of course, there's a lot of reaction to that, whether the fact there won't be one. But as far as getting into the House of Assembly, that'll be when the rubber will hit the road, because I can guarantee you the opposition are going to ask every question that they can conceivably come up with, hopefully, you know, to drill down. And then we'll have to decide whether or not this is, in fact, in the best interests of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah, well, I think that referendum that he promised us, and we're not going to have it, when the next election roll around. I think that's going to put him out of his job.
Well, I mean, that's an opinion that some people share. Other people say it would have never been a productive process anyway because of the understanding we need, But again, people go back to, well, then why promise it? So, again, it's a decision that was made, and I would suggest that we still have a long way to go and a lot to understand about this deal. And I think it helps to have all of the facts out there. Obviously, there's a lot of people with a lot of knowledge about these sorts of things. And we throw it all out for everyone's consumption, and we'll see what we come up with. At least it's not signed, it's not final, it's not binding. So there's lots of time before the, I guess, December 31st deadline. Well, not deadline, but that's the target date to finish all the to sign all the definitive agreements when it would become final, and the public no longer has a say, or the opposition. I mean, when the contracts are signed, they're signed. Whether that'll happen by the end of December, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, and then there's that $14 billion that Quebec owes us from 1969 up until now. Looks like to me that's been swept under the rug somehow. They've forgotten all about that. That's gone under the rug or been covered up.
Yeah, I'm wary of covered up and swept under. Again, all of those details will be there, hopefully, on the public, out there for the public to see. I hope everybody who's complaining or in favor or who has issues with it right now pays close attention to the House debate, because that's our chance.
Yeah, and then there's going forward into the future, like they made an announcement like giving Quebec so many kilowatts of power. That's I don't know what, 25 kilowatts of power or something like that?
Megawatts?
Megawatts or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I don't have that number right in front. I got a lot of numbers in front of me.
But I don't know exactly. I think it's somewhere around 25. Anyway, looks like to me that's
10,000, I think.
Gift for them, here's your Christmas gift.
Again, listen, it's open to interpretation and opinion, and it's mostly all opinion right now because, again, have you had a chance to look at the actual agreement?
No, because I haven't got a computer. I got one, but I get all mixed up, but I try to open it up and get into it, so I just put it away and I talk to somebody on the phone, like talking to you, say.
Yeah, and I understand that. A lot of people are in that boat, even if you could access it. It's
anyway,
it's tangly stuff, right?
I haven't got it on paper, and they're not going to send it to me. I don't want it on paper.
But I guess this is what makes it more important for us to pay attention to the public debate and discourse, and once it gets in the House of Assembly, because that'll be our chance. If we're not going to read the agreement and we're going to base our opinions on what people are saying in the public domain, I mean that might or might not be helpful, but I would suggest the facts are the best way to go, and eventually, hopefully, everything will be questioned and drilled down, that we would not do that to our peril. So I fully expect every question that we want to ask will be given an opportunity in the House of Assembly, and that's going to be the chance in, I think, September the 14th. And I don't know if I got to look again. I mean, they're reopening the House that day. I'm sure it'll be more than one day, but we'll wait for that, and I would strongly urge you to keep tuned, keep a close eye on that if you want to really have as much information as possible, which is the best way to go.
It's like the opposition leader said yesterday, John Hogan said that it's closer to 1969 deal than what it is to a 2026 deal.
Yeah. Well, remains to be seen. This is the opposition, and of course they have some knowledge of the last deal and this deal, and they have said they will support it if it's a great deal. But again, that's open to interpretation, and they don't seem to be all that in. The more they look at it, the more they don't seem to like it. But that's them. That's the opposition. That's their role when they see fit. So
I don't exactly like it because I still think that Quebec is getting the better part of the biggest part of the pie. Like we get the smallest quarter taken out, and they get the rest of it.
Well, that'll be all to be dissected in September, Lindsay. So I'd urge you to stay tuned to that one and just, soak up all the official, factual information that you can. Lindsay, I got to get off to the break. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, okay then.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number one. Last call in the morning. JP, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. Thanks for taking my call.
Or PJ, sorry. I read it wrong. Sorry, but that's on me.
No worries. No worries at all.
PJ.
Yes, I just wanted to briefly talk today about the difference between the MOU and this new, what I call CIA agreement, which is, because they call it the Cooperation and Implementation Agreement. So, so it's easier to roll off the tongue. But I've been following this for 2 years. There's a lot of problems that still remain in the CIA agreement related to price, the payment schedule, control, and transmission. So, when we look at the new agreement, the payment schedule that Quebec has now, I've done the calculation, I've added up both of them are 50 years. There's $23 billion less in the new agreement. So, you know, we need to have people look at this stuff and answer questions on it. Similarly, in the terms of the federal government involvement, why is Quebec getting 65% of that $10 billion when Newfoundland, by far, is taking on more debt to do this Gull Island development? It doesn't make sense. At the very least, it should be 5 and 5. And when you look at, for example, the jobs that Mr. Wakeham talks about in the construction phase, he's neglecting to tell you that all the jobs in the define phase and development phase, which are the first two phases of any infrastructure development, are going to be going primarily to workers. All that wealth is going to stay in Quebec for the next 10, 12, 15 years. So there are significant situations within this new CIA agreement that a referendum would help resolve. People in the public could ask questions, get responses, and then, you know, people could have a better understanding of how this is going to affect them for the next.
Are you still there, PJ?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I think there was something on the line there. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, the referendum would have been one question, I guess, and maybe in information sessions, as I said before, town halls. These questions, like, again, I mean, your input, every bit of input I've heard here this morning, the good, the bad, the ugly, the positive, the negative, all of that should be banked away. These are all valid questions. This is exactly what this forum is for. And again, the House debate will be there for all of these questions to be, my assumption is all of these questions. Anything that's not unanswered, I mean, listen, the opposition is listening, not just the government. They see all these questions. Your point, the specifics of the $23 billion and the share of the 6.5 versus the 3.5. I mean, you know, when we're talking the size of Quebec and the size of Newfoundland, that's one thing. When we're talking the size of the actual development, that's another thing. So, you know, it's all open for debate, and that'll happen right before our House of Assembly. And PJ, I'm really sorry, only because of the time on the clock. We've had a very busy show, and I'm down to my last minute. So I'll give you 30 seconds if that's okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, just the last thing. I would say that going to the House of Assembly with this for a few days is just not going to be adequate enough. The politicians there are not versed enough on this to address the significance of this change. And so I don't think it's an ample solution, but so be it if that's the way it's going. But there's going to be a lot of unanswered questions if they go that route. Yep. So, which would be to the detriment of Newfoundland. But anyway, I'll call back some other day after I get through more of the document. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, everyone will have about a month to do that. So, you know, and the opposition parties, I'm sure, will have legal and other experts to look at it, and they'll have their ducks in a row. Let's hope everyone does have all the questions you want questioned. And all the questions you want posed, and hopefully we'll get all the answers we deserve. Thank you very much, PJ. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Take care. All right. That'll do it for this Thursday. Just enough time to thank the one and only David Williams, of course, for all his yeoman's work there behind the scenes. Anyway, people, as you know, as I always say, please drive safely. Arrive alive. Thanks for all your calls and emails. VOCM cares.